Hey guys, Aaron Zeller here of the Zeller Writing Company and inkonhand.com. Today I want to talk to you about the newest pen stand that we just came out with. A few weeks ago we came out with a pen stand, or two pen stands actually, one that held 5 pens, one that held 3. This week we came out with a pen stand that just holds a single pen. This one is really cool. It's really unique in that it uses a steam bending technique to fit everything together. There's some oak in there, there's some walnut. It was a lot of fun to make. So let's check it out. So here's the pen stand. The first thing you'll notice here is the certificate of authenticity, which each of these pen stands come with. It's nothing too crazy special. It just has a description, what the series was, when it was created, and then it was signed by me. It's not extremely awesome or unique or anything. It's just something I thought was nice to include with all of these. Toss that to the side really quick, and then here's the actual packaging for it. It's a recyclable, eco-friendly box, and I really like to stick with the whole natural design and stuff. It has the logo right here on the top, and then it has a description of what the product is inside. This one's the chair arch pen stand. I'll talk to you a little bit later about what the chair arch actually is. And it's recyclable, nice, just simple craft box. Inside, it's packaged with a wood Excelsior filling. This kind of keeps them with a natural theme. It's all biodegradable, eco-friendly, and just kind of matched everything pretty well. So here's the actual pen stand itself. First thing you'll notice is the two different kinds of wood. Right here we got oak and a walnut base. The contrast between them is really nice, I thought, between the light oak and then the darker walnut. It was just a nice little color contrast we had right there. The grain of each of these is going to be completely unique. The oak right here is a different way we cut these to get these strips. Usually we cut them kind of lengthwise, kind of plane them down to the thickness we want. But these we did a little different. We cut them to the edge just because the grain inside was just really nice. And then the oak, each one of these is going to have just very unique different colors, and it ages really well. This is a really cool looking one. I like what it has the golden and the brown, and then more of like a grayish brown right there in the middle. Each of these then has like a little dimple right in the middle to make sure the pen doesn't slide out, because these are sanded pretty darn smooth, given a couple coats of polyurethane and a couple coats of wax. I mean, they are extremely durable and extremely smooth. I mean, I just really like how smooth they are. The dimensions of this is 4 inches lengthwise, about 2.25 to 2.5 or so width, and then the height right here is about 4.5 inches. Now each of these is going to be a little different because they are handmade, so the angle might be a little different, which will change the overall height. It might be a little less, and each of the bends will be slightly different. We try to keep these as consistent as possible, but of course there's going to be some variation. There's definitely going to be some in the grain structure of the wood. We always try to make sure the most unique part is towards the front. So it kind of fades light to dark right here, as you'll see on most of them. They're all going to be a little bit unique because they are handmade, and the wood is always going to be unique. But for the most part, we try to keep them consistent. Some of you might be wondering what actually is steam bending, how is it done? And what you do is basically, it's an older technique, and it involves taking a thin piece of wood, or any thickness of wood, and you put it into a custom-made steam box. We had to make our own, and then you steam it. You run steam through the container for a duration of time depending on the thickness of wood. The general rule is 1 hour per inch of thickness, so these are just over 1/16 of an inch. So they took just under, probably between 5 and 10 minutes. That's how long we left them in there to heat up, and to make sure that the lignin bonds inside the wood are loose, or at least unset, so that they can bend without breaking. And it also has to be more of a fresh or a green wood, or at least air dried. If you get kiln dried wood, which is typically what you're going to see in places like your Home Depot or Lowe's or anything like that, it doesn't really work so well, because that wood's already heated and those lignin bonds are already set. So even if you steam it, it's more than likely still going to break if you have a harsher bend, kind of like what we did here. And these themselves are 1/16 of an inch, like I said, but I think that fit the design really well. It made it really nice, minimalistic. It kept it really strong and sturdy without adding any unnecessary bulk. These are just about 1/2 of an inch wide then as well, so it just makes it a really simple look to everything. And also, I call this the chair arch. There wasn't really a name for this kind of arch at all that we made, but I thought it looked kind of like a chair. So if you look at it like here, think of this as being the back of the chair, and then how it bends and twists out to right here. Think of these as kind of the armrests or something more. So a throne arch, maybe you could call it as well. Might sound a little fancier than chair arch, so maybe I'll change the labels, who knows. So overall, there isn't a lot to say about these. I'll show you a pen sitting in it because that's always exciting. It just kind of sits right in there and stays. There's a little bit of a notch that I sanded into right there so that when the pen's in here, because it was perfectly round, I mean this is just an arch. There isn't anywhere for it to stop. It would just slide back and forth without these in there. So as long as you have a nice level table, it'll stand and sit and be presented really nicely in this stand. It is a presentation stand. It's not just a simple utilitarian one where it stands in there and stays. This is one made to, you're gonna have a nicer pen in here, or any pen. I'll put my Noodler's Nib Creeper in here and see. I mean, I think it pretty much makes every pen look pretty nice sitting in there. And it just works. It's simple. The dimple on the bottom has more of a flattish part to it. Because if it was round, it needs a place for the pen, the base of the pens to rest on. So it's a little flat and has a little bit of a lip, but it's all completely sanded here and smooth down into it. There wasn't even a bit that we could find to make this kind of dimple, so we developed, we machined our own bit to cut all of these in there. So overall, there isn't a ton to say. It works well. It looks great. We really like the steam bending technique. We actually currently have about 6 other pen stand designs in the works using some steam bending designs. And that'll include a couple more single pen stands, but then also some longer ones and some deeper ones to hold multiple pens all at once. And they're all going to be unique in that regard. And we also want to include the steam bending technique in some future products that we make as well beyond pen stands. We want to make sure, we want to add it into some pen cases that we make, or some writing slopes which we also have in the works. And it's just going to make things a lot of fun to make, because steam bending itself it's just a really fun process. It's different than just sawing wood and hammering it or gluing it or screwing it together. It involves a lot of finesse almost, and you have to make a jig. We have to make a lot of jigs. We make these about a dozen at a time. So we have, it was just pretty complicated to get everything situated to make these in volume in order to actually make a number of them out in a certain amount of time. So it's definitely a lot more challenging. There's a lot more math involved in order to figure out the angles that we want everything at. And overall, it's just more interesting, I think, than actually using just the saw and the hammer and the glue and everything like that. So it keeps things looking unique, keeps them fun for me. Yeah, so I think that's about it with these stands. Ta-da! So I think that I covered these pen stands pretty well. If you have any questions about them, comments, we'd actually really love to hear your guys' comments about these. Do you like this style? Do you want us to get rid of it altogether? Do you really like the steam bending technique? Do you have some design ideas of your own of what you'd like to see come from us in the future? Please let us know. We'd love to hear it. We're here to serve you guys. And you can let us know in the comments below, or you can always send me an email at ajzeller@zellerwritingcompany.com. Thanks. See you later.